Ciaran Mulligan of Blue Insurance. You've got a new product to launch, and it's quite a surprise for those of us who thought that the days of COVID cover were long gone.
Yes, Owen, we started off initially with just trying to get medical cover for COVID included, because everything was excluded on the policies when we first started off. So we originally got medical added for anybody that picked up COVID-19 while they're abroad on holidays, obviously when the DFA advised it's safe to travel. And with that, you would have been covered for additional accommodation and additional transportation should you have to be quarantined when you're abroad or if you've been in hospital delayed. So now we're delighted from tomorrow morning that we will give you cancellation cover for COVID-19. So if you or any of your travelling companions are diagnosed as being positive for COVID-19, or if you have a family member that's been hospitalised as a result of COVID-19, then the policy will cover you under the Mapfre Retail Scheme that we have at the moment. And we're currently in negotiations with Whitehorse about providing it under theirs as well.
That's available through the Irish Travel Trade. Is that an extra that the Travel Trade has that is not available in the wider consumer for the time being?
It's not on the direct schemes yet. It will be probably later on this week, but it's initially we're rolling it out first to the Mapfre Retail Scheme, and then it'll probably hit our multi-trip later on in the week at some point.
How much extra does it cost, Ciaran?
Zero. We're absorbing the cost of it ourselves. So it's part of our commitment. I mean, obviously we brought Jeanette on board as well. Jason, Paul, Owen, Amy and the team, we're all committed to the travel trade. And I think this is important for us to highlight as well, that, you know, the travel trade is important to us. I know at some point I will be moving on, or I'll be staying on as a global advisor. It's free of charge. It's something that we were conscious that we wanted to support the trade on. And it was our commitment in showing the trade that we're going to absorb the additional cost on it, and we're going to roll it out and we give it to them free of charge.
How is that working out for you in general? Are you still on a daily basis dealing with underwriters who are clear as to what the end game is going to be with many of the cases that are being passed on to you? Because you're likely only to get the complicated ones.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, obviously we're very much supportive of the trade and we've been very much behind it. And if there's been any queries, we've been all over it. I think that's the one thing as Ireland's number one provider is that we were responding to stuff very quickly and getting answers to stuff. Jason and the team and Jeanette have been very good at this. They're dealing with claims on a case-by-case basis. So, you know, they're not saying it's a decline. They're not saying it's a confirmation of payment. They're looking at each case-by-case basis because, you know, it's very fluid at the moment. It's been changing a lot, like where people were saying they're not getting refunds and then all of a sudden the airlines were giving refunds, you know. So each time the underwriters are looking at each case-by-case basis. You know, if you're a tour operator acting as a tour operator, then they'll have a different decision on it to maybe a travel agent acting in a dynamic packaging. But, you know, they're not dismissing or they're not confirming each case. They're looking on a case-by-case basis and we'll review what each airline is doing or what a cruise company is doing, etc. as well.
The generality, Ciaran, and it crops up on consumer shows and talk shows all the time, is the flight that departs that the consumer is not willing or able to go on through government advisory or other reason. What's the general state of play with that? Or is there a state of play, or is it all coming up piecemeal?
I know our insurers have paid out for cases where a flight has departed and there was no refund after that customer, and that for whatever reason that customer couldn't go or for some reason wasn't able to take the voucher for whatever, maybe it was their age. So they're taking into consideration all times each individual case. To be fair to them, they have paid out, but I've also seen where they declined and said, no, you were offered a voucher deemed compensation. And then, you know, at that case, then the consumer was told, well, you've been offered a voucher, we recommend you take the voucher. And, you know, that's something I've done myself. And it's something I will say to customers, if an airline is offering you a voucher, then certainly consider it, unless there's exceptional circumstances. And if there's exceptional circumstances, the underwriters will review it and consider it.
Ciaran, what are your long-term plans for the future?
Well, I've given commitment to CoverMore Group, which is the owners of Blue Insurance now, that I will look at staying on in an advisor and a chairman role probably for the next year or so. Hasn't been finalised as yet, but obviously I'm still committed to Blue Insurance. I'll be doing everything I can to support Blue during transition periods and into the future. You know, you'll still see me popping in as a Blue or Covermore representative, because the likelihood is at some point during this year or in the next 12 months, the name will probably change to Covermore Europe in the group at some point. But that's coming down the track. But I'll be still there, and agents and my friends in the trade will continue to still see me. For some, that'll be good and bad news.
We will be looking forward to that. No function would be complete without you. Thank you very much, Ciaran Mulligan.